The rest is the learning of the behavior. And if along the way he decides not to marry her, it's because he's learned certain things about her that he doesn't really
He's
like,
not comfortable
as
about.
comfortable.
Yeah.
But the moment a man meets a woman he thinks could potentially be a wife, he knows it. And the same with women. It's as they go along and they think, there are things about this guy I don't like. That's what now say, okay, I've dated him for 2 years and then he left me, so I don't want you. But the same man who has dated a woman for 4 years, never married, and said because he was not ready, he will date another girl and 3 months later is married. What do you think? How do you think that is? So you cannot just be sitting down and wasting your time.
Mhm.
So I said to her, this is your homework.
Yeah.
These are the questions. And see, how do I ask her? Say, did I not write it down? You ask it the way I've written it down. And she might be uncomfortable. So I say, okay, you want to wait another 4 years
Yes,
of your life.
Abby.
I say, you better ask me. I say, not just giving you. When you come back, I want the
Answers.
down to everything that he says.
Okay.
Do you know that was how I saved her from a stupid mistake?
Relationship.
Because as soon as he asked those questions, the guy started changing. And I said to her, you see, because he knew that you were not the woman for his future. You were the woman for now. The woman to keep his whatever you were doing with him.
Mm-hmm.
You were not one, because if you knew 4 years, how is he going to tell you he doesn't know? And you sat there. These are lies that we've told ourselves. I tell people all the time, we've done all that mistakes. I've made it. But we just need, that's part of what From Fearful to Fierce is about. Fearful to fierce means you step out of being bound by fear. What will you say? What would they say?
More like stepping out of your comfort zone.
Yeah. Step into the person that you know. So someone doesn't like how you live, it's so bad. I tell people, the person who's meant to be with you, no excuse will be enough. The one that's not meant to be with you, no amount of scheming and being goody-goody will be enough too.
That's true.
It's not going to be enough. So what's the best thing to be? Just be you, yourself, apologetically.
Yeah, be
you. You is the best that you can be. There's only one you.
Yeah.
And in any case, what's the point of lying to someone? Because if you start off lying, have you not seen? I've seen men as well, women, because they want this man to marry by fire by turn. They lie and they get into the home, and then once they marry, they think, now I can relax and just be myself, and then the problem starts.
That's true.
Because the man is now saying, this is not the person who married. This is not what she would
say. It's more like what I ordered.
It's not what I got. It's not it. And she would like, didn't you see me like this? No, it is you like this because you were busy trying to be Miss. Just show who you are. Be real. Mm-hmm. Just be real.
Yeah.
You know.
A child. I overheard a child ask his mom, "Where do babies come from?" And the mom now said, "From heaven." And the child was like, "Okay, did I drop from heaven?" Uh-huh. You understand? So, and the mom was like, "Don't disturb me, Jerry." You understand?
Because she didn't want to answer. You see what we do?
Huh? You understand? So I just stood there and I was smiling.
This is what we do.
I was smiling because I guess what happened was that when we got down from the train, a woman came down with her stroller with a child in it, and the baby was crying, and so that caught the young boy's attention. I was like, mommy, where do baby come from and stuff like that, and it's just the way the woman went about it, and I was like, that was actually not the right way, you know, so because this answer has not given the child,
and the boy is curious. I mean, very curious. Every child is curious. I mean, don't you see when kids are, why this, why that? Why do you think as a child is growing, it's like, why? Mm-hmm. Like a child's entire vocabulary as they're growing is why. 90% of why. Because
when you ask them not to touch it, they will ask you why.
It's in our DNA to be curious.
Yeah.
And when you do not satisfy that curiosity, they're going to go outside looking for it.
Yeah, that's true.
And what they will find will not be what you like.
That's true. That's true. You know, when I was doing my research and everything on this conversation, you know, my daughter flipped through my notes and was like, "Oh, mommy, this is what we're being taught in school presently." Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay. And before I would open my mouth, I said, no, I don't want to hear. You know, she felt embarrassed. You understand?
Because you've not created a platform to make her feel comfortable.
You understand? So now, how do we as parents bridge that gap
Start from square one. Like I said, I'm going to say it again. It's not going to be easy. In fact, half of the time, if your face was white, your face would be red. If you were a white woman, you feel like your face will be completely red because some question, even if it means putting your face on the ground, you have to have that talk. And the thing that I like to say, start doing something that's just you and your daughter. And I don't mean that you're meeting cooking or whatever, you're going to parties and you just no. Take time to go and go long walk. My daughter and I will do long walks a lot. And some of our most bonding moments were cutting, our closeness was cutting. Like you're walking with someone 2, 3 hours. What are you going to talk about? You're going to get quiet. On those walks, she always tells people that I'm so grateful for our walks, Mom. Every time she arrives, she says, Mom, we're going on our walk. And the things that have come out of those, we used to say to ourselves, we should be taping these things. I would say something, she said, that was epiphanic, Mommy, I should be taping. Or she would say something, oh my God, Nina, we should be taping that. Some of those conversations. Go on long walks with her. 30 minutes, talk about it. It's not going to be easy, but have it. Because if you don't have it, she's not going to have it with her child.
Yeah.
And this circle continues. We don't want that. And the thing is, you will realize the beauty of your relationship will just unfold like a flower.
Yeah.
When you start having the time, and even the father to talk to the son, the beauty of your relationship, that's when you really now see the beauty of being a mother. You'll be having conversation, and then you start to see your child as your friend.
Yeah.
Because you talk to them about, and don't be afraid to talk about, my daughter asked me when we started, she said, so who was your first man? Do you think such a conversation was easy for me at first? So what did you do? So how did you? But now we talk about everything. I will ask her everything. I talk to her about everything. So you need to start. You grew up in a society like people don't talk, and then you enter church. The guilt of church is on top of that. The church makes it feel guilty to talk about sex. So they're starting from a home. You can't go. The mommy and dad don't like to talk about it. You enter church. Church it's a sin to even discuss sex. But at the same time that it's so causing to talk about sex, you're preparing them to go into marriage. You're not even preparing them. You're expecting them to go into a happily ever after. They will take everything. Man, wife, be submit to your husband, obey your husband, be respectful. That's all you hear. And the man, they will, in fact, when you come to love your wife as God loves Christ, small that they jump over. They don't tell you what it means, what love means. Yeah. Love is not something that you talk. Love is actionable.
Action, yeah, that's true.
Sacrifice.
That's true.
So when they are saying to the men, just love as Christ loved, they forget the sacrificial part of Christ's love.
Yeah, that's true.
Christ did not just come and say, I love for you. He was willing to die a very horrible death for people that he loves. That's so true. When you're using that as example and say, men love woman as Christ, do you not see that the sacrificial part of that love? It means that men, if you really are ready to love your spouse, it's going to hurt. There are going to be times when you say, just like Christ said, Lord, if this cup is too much, take it away from me.
At times you just wake up and like, why did I even mind this person?
Exactly.
Why do I even love this person?
You're going to wake up and think, my life was better before this woman came. But after you've done that, you now realize, this is the sacrificial part of that. You come back because there's the joy part of it. And as you grow into, I've only seen couple who really love each other. They would never say they never had, but they grew so
into each other.
They even start looking like each other.
That's true. That's true. This conversation that we're having right now reminds me of when my daughter, before she started her monthly flow, you understand, I just casually brought out a sanitary towel and the panties. I was just like,
this is what.
I just like, this is how to do it. I didn't do an intensive teaching. I just but in my head, while I was doing that, I was praying that when it's going to start, let her just be around me, so I can put her through the process properly. But thank God I taught her briefly. I just scratched the surface. Lo and behold,
it didn't happen when
it happened in school. I know secondary school now they have all this stuff for girls and stuff like that. I was on break and I checked my phone. I saw like 7 of her calls and I was like, I missed my daughter's call. I was like, what's
What
happening?
happened?
Why
Yeah.
would she call me? I was not praying that at the time
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was going to call her back,
Mm-hmm.
that she will be with her phone and so,
Mm-hmm.
because they're not allowed to have phones in class.
Mm-hmm.
And lo and behold, I called her, she picked, and I was like, what happened? I just missed your calls and stuff like that. She was like, Mom, it has started. And I was asking myself, that started, was there any
Uh-huh.
school program that I missed and stuff like that?
She did.
Because
She couldn't even put a name to it
you
because
understand?
it
No, you just said it has started.
did.
And I'm like, it has started. I was like, it has started. I just kept asking myself, it has started, it has started. She was like, Mommy, my period. And I was like, did you do this? Did you do that? Did you do that? I was the one at the other
Yeah,
end
yeah,
panicking.
yeah,
But when
yeah,
she just held
yeah,
her phone, and
yeah,
I guess she was just like, okay,
yeah,
when you're done, let me know.
yeah, yeah.
So at the end of the day, when I was like, okay, she's just like, Mommy, you've already taught me this.
Mhm.
I was like, but I didn't
Yeah,
really teach you, because I
yeah,
knew what I
yeah.
was doing
What?
that very day.
Yeah,
You understand? Yeah, but I
yeah,
said I didn't really. She said, don't
yeah,
worry,
yeah,
I got it. I was
yeah,
like, you got it. I said,
yeah.
okay, no problem. Just manage yourself. When we get
Mm-hmm.
home, we will now do a proper
Yeah, yeah.
tutorial on how to go about
What you
that.
should have done before.
You
This thing
understand?
almost happened. I know.
You
This thing
understand?
almost
So,
happened to my
eh,
daughter. That, do you know what she did? I taught my daughter when it happened. We always think that it's going to happen when we are there, but it never ever does. When it happened with my daughter, I remember saying to her, the first course she said to me, we were even traveling, and she went with my friends and the friends family in the same city that we
mhm,
were traveling, and she just said, she called me and she said, Mommy, I wish you were here. I really wish you were here because I just need a hug from her. Because like what it's a symbiotic relationship.
yeah,
When you teach your child all of these things, everything she's going to go through in life, there are things will come in life because unfortunately life is like that. We
yeah,
cannot bypass it. But
mhm,
when those things come, she will know that you're there. She would derive joy from knowing all I need is go to my mom.
yeah,
Even if your mom is not there, the way life happens sometimes, even if she will remember.
yeah.
It will be like the spirit of the mother is
It's
there
there. That's
and it will
true.
help.
Mhm,
Another thing that I was going to say about some of the things in our society, unfortunately, life is the way life is within our society.
mhm,
Not everyone can afford to have, if you have three children where you have separate rooms, everybody has their own and there's a bit of privacy. What about those section of our society? We do not really have that strong middle class society.
mhm,
Strong middle class society is the backbone of a society, like I say, where you can really afford your own little space.
mhm.
But not many Nigerians, the other part of that, very few Nigerians
Very
have
few.
that. What
Yeah.
about the other part who have to maybe manage one room
Mhm.
or room and a parlor in maybe 4 or 5 kids? And think about it. We don't think about this thing. You don't teach your children sex education because you don't want them to be a shower promiscuous. Do you think when you're having sex with the other, they're not hearing you? And then they're hearing you or whatever you guys are doing, they're hearing. They don't tell you. And then it sounds good. Do you not think they're going to want to know what is sounding so good?
That
We
brings me
do
to
not
this
think.
now social media era,
Uh,
with what is happening
uh-huh,
online. I know
exactly.
all these children, they have phones,
And they are
not
not,
just phones, smartphones. You understand?
yeah,
So you really
yeah.
don't know what they are watching behind your back.
And what is happening online, you don't
It's
even want to
crazy.
know. Before when we used to have TV, we say parental control.
Yeah.
What about phone? Parental, the kids, your 5-year-old probably knows better how to use an iPhone than, or a 6, 7, 8-year-old probably knows how to use a phone than most parents. And you say you want to do parental control, they'll probably flick it on to whatever they want to see,
And they turn it
flick
back
it
to
back on, and then you go pick up and you're thinking,
Ah,
I've been very smart. You don't know that you've been
that's true.
outsmarted.
Like
You're not
on
as.
Netflix, there's when my husband is used to watching his movies halfway, so it all falls to continue watching.
Mm-hmm,
So one day my kids were like, why do we have so much to continue watching when we can
mm-hmm,
just get them off? And they were
mm-hmm.
now teaching us how to take it off from continue watching.
You see
And the next thing he said that,
how?
I hope these kids are not watching stuff and they have for continue watching. You understand? I'm just like,
Yeah,
no, they won't,
yeah.
because we've actually created an atmosphere whereby we relate with each other. They
It's
tell us
good.
everything.
It's
You
good.
understand?
Yeah.
They tell us everything,
Yeah.
and I, as a parent, at times when your kid tells you some things, it takes the grace
For you
for
not
you
to
not to
scream.
flip. you
And
know,
that's
so you
the
know,
secret.
yeah, it takes the grace for you
Yeah.
not to flip.
Yeah.
So most times, what I do is like I just like when I hear stuff, I just like Helen, calm down,
Yeah. You
calm
have
down,
to.
calm
You
down.
have to.
So
Yeah.
I try to be the good cop, and where I'm supposed to be the bad
Yeah.
cop, I be the bad cop. You understand? But most time I try to be the mediator,
Yeah.
whereby we
Yeah.
have a
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah.
Their dad and I make sure that okay, we have a kind of bond whereby they can say
Uh-huh.
anything.
Yeah.
They are free.
Yeah.
You understand? So
Yeah.
that we are trying to create a
Yeah.
path where they know that they can relate with these people. You
Exactly.
understand?
Yeah.
So that when they hear things
Yeah.
like that
Yeah.
outside,
Yeah.
you understand, they know
Yeah.
that okay, I can come home and tell
Yeah.
these people, my
Yeah.
parents,
Yeah.
and they will push me,
Yeah.
nudge me on the right path. They will tell me, okay,
Mm.
this you've heard is actually not good. This you've heard is good. You
Mm.
understand?
Mm.
Like when I was like developing this topic, and my daughter said, she was like this, that, and was just talking,
Mm.
and
Mm.
so if I had not created the
Mm.
opportunity, the platform, the
Mm.
room
Mm.
for
Yeah.
such
That's
conversation,
yeah.
she
She
would
will not.
hold some
Yeah. Oh my.
information
Of
back.
course. Yeah.
You understand?
And children are
So
like, they are little like rabbits. You know this phrase you always say, rabbit caught in the headlamp.
mm-hmm.
If they tell you something and you come up with judge, like you rightly say,
Judgmental, yeah.
sometimes you have to say, oh God, please help me not to feel, help me not, help me in your head. Because the moment you say something that they feel is judgmental, they
They lock
retreat
up.
back.
They lock
It's going
up.
to be very hard for them to, because they like, and sometimes they do it not because they want to be bad, but because they think they're protecting you.
Yeah.
The funny thing about kids is that at the same time you're thinking they're protecting you, they're actually protecting you because kids don't like to see their parents hurt.
That's true.
They don't
That's
like to
true.
see them unhappy. So the downside of not talking to them about things is that oftentimes things will go on in their life, and if you've not created a platform for them to say, they're not going to tell you because they
That's
think
true.
they're protecting you.
That's
But
true.
meanwhile, it's doing more harm than good.
And good.
Eventually, you will find out that it was harm, and they will say, and you always say, Mommy, I didn't want to tell you, not because they wanted to be hiding stuff from you or being bad or naughty like we like, but simply because they were trying to protect you. These are things that we should really,
So now let's talk about strategy. What are the strategies? Fine, we've admitted that having this conversation is difficult in a way. So what are the strategies? What are the steps? How do we approach it bit by bit?
Like I said, you start. I'm going to tell you one thing. When my kids were growing up, especially even both my daughter and my son, because you realize that, especially, we're not talking about abuse here, but we are talking, it's all part of the sexual education. If you do not let the child be comfortable understanding the knowing and the understanding of the sexual activity between male and female, or sexual activity
Yeah,
in general, they're going to go looking
that's true.
somewhere else. And then, not just, even if they don't go looking, someone might do stuff to them. And would you know how abuse people will say, if you do this, I will hurt. Back to what I was saying, protecting. If you dare tell your parents, I will hurt your
That's
parents.
true.
And
That's
because
true.
these kids don't want they're
Parent,
protecting
yeah,
you,
that's
they will
true.
keep quiet until they've been
Yeah.
all
Mm-hmm.
over.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So part of the strategy is to create comfort, a situation, comfortable. Don't make everything look like a taboo, even if it seems like a taboo to you. When for example, my kids were growing, especially my daughter. I taught my daughter how to wipe her butt very, very early. And even when it took time, it would be all of, I didn't care. Because I said to her, I want her, as she's going to nursery school, to wipe her butt. I don't want anybody to go and touch her in the guise of helping her wipe her butt.
Yeah, that's
She will
true.
not understand the difference.
That's true.
Because abuse, you be funny thing, abuse is not just men of male touching whatever, if they're touching little girls. They are women
That's
who
true.
touch little girls.
Yes, true.
And that's the mistake some of us, we always think, the school is only female, or only female teacher. But you'll be so surprised to know that there are some female teachers who are touching little kids.
That's true.
So you need to raise your child in that point where certain fundamental things like cleaning our butt. Because I always say to myself, I've taught my child Mm. I always say to my okay, I've taught my child how to take care of those little fundamentals.
Mm-hmm.
That if anybody ever says, "Oh, I was trying to touch their help," you will tell me what you are doing inside my child's private area.
Yeah.
Because as far as I'm concerned, I've taught the child, even if she doesn't do it properly, I used to give her a wet wipe so that
Mm-hmm.
you clean and clean and clean
Mm-hmm.
till the wet wipe is clean.
Yeah.
So when you teach your child that as early as whatever 3, whatever years,
Mm-hmm.
when someone now goes and say, this person say he was helping me, I will ask you, what were you doing in
Yeah,
my
that's
daughter's
true.
private area?
Yeah, that's
And you
true.
say, I was helping her clean pot. Did I tell you that my daughter does not know, she knows how to
Do
clean her own
that.
pot? So
Yeah.
what were you doing? Because my sister was a teacher in a school. And my sister, do you know that my sister was the one who had to teach a lot of kids all of these things? And she said, you will not imagine the things these kids were abused, young kids. And because then and now, when aunties, then they say, Mrs. Auntie, they call her Mrs. Auntie. When she started making them comfortable, they started telling her things that was shocking to her,
Yeah.
that their parents would never. And they say, Auntie, Mrs. Auntie, this person was, she
Mm-hmm.
found out a lot of abuse happening. Why didn't you tell mommy? I didn't want my mommy to be sad. I
Sad.
didn't want my daddy to be angry.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm.
Strategy start from little bit. Learn to talk to your kids.
Yeah.
Make them your friends. It's
Mm-hmm.
even not even friends. Your kids are going to become friends when you start to feel comfortable with you.
Yeah.
But do not. I think one of the strategies, very important one, is to remove your discomfort. If you think too much about your discomfort in certain ways, things not to say, you
Mm.
will not raise your child right.
Well.
So one of the strategies is not to think about yourself and say I'm uncomfortable. Agree to be uncomfortable because you're a parent.
Yeah.
That's what parenting is about. You're going to be uncomfortable a lot of the times.
Mm.
Agree, know that I'm going to be uncomfortable, but I will do the right thing anyway.
Thank you so much. That was a very interesting conversation. Please share your thoughts down in the comment section. I remain your girl, Nonye. Like, subscribe, and let me know what you think about this conversation. Bye.